Imagine being able to make a deal where you could get absolutely anything that you wanted. Wealth, riches, fame, musical talent, you name it. Such a deal comes at a very high cost. It is called a Faustian bargain. Have you ever heard of a Faustian bargain? I hadn't either. A Faustian bargain, also known as a deal with the devil, is an agreement in which a person exchanges something of supreme moral or spiritual importance, such as personal values or their soul, for some worldly or material benefit. In this video, I am going to tell you about people who made a Faustian bargain with the devil, the chief of this world, or so folklore and legend says. Johann George Faust. So now you know what a Faustian bargain is. Let's learn about German doctor Johann George Faust, a well-known but very mysterious person in the 1500s and 1600s. Faust is perhaps the most famous man who made a deal with the devil. He inspired the phrase Faustian bargain because of his early treatment as a figure in legend and literature. Establishing historical facts about Faust's life with any certainty is difficult. A play was even written about him. Faust did magic tricks and did horoscope readings all over Europe for about 30 years and was often accused of being a fraud. He often claimed himself to be a doctor of philosophy, an alchemist, and an astrologer. The highlight of his occult reputation was when Faust said he could do all of Christ's miracles and do them better. Most scholars at the time laughed at his claims that he could do magic. However, so many people thought he was working with the devil that the church took action against him. Martin Luther and other important people took him very seriously. Once he was known, cities banned him, and people wouldn't let him in. Things got even stranger after he died. Faust died in a chemical explosion, and when his body was found, it was very mutated. It was thought that he had changed before the explosion. Many people thought that the devil's evil had made Faust's body into a twisted mess. People found it strange that when Faust's body had been laid on its back, it kept turning its face to the ground, even though it was repeatedly laid on its back. Theophilus of Ofdana. Surprisingly, one of the earliest accounts of a deal with the devil, before Faustian bargain became a phrase, is that of Theophilus, a Christian working for the church. Theophilus was the archdeacon of Ofdana, Cilicia, which was a province of the Byzantine Empire. Theophilus was unanimously elected to be a bishop, and when he declined out of humility, another man was elected in his place. When the new bishop unjustly stripped Theophilus of his position as archdeacon based on malicious and unfounded rumors, Theophilus regretted his previous stance and sought out a necromancer to summon the devil. The devil offered Theophilus a position as a bishop in the church in exchange for his soul. Theophilus signed a contract with his blood, and soon after, he was given a higher position. Later, fearful for his soul, Theophilus repented and begged forgiveness from the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary appeared to him after 40 days of fasting and verbally chastised him. Theophilus begged forgiveness, and Mary promised to pray to God on his behalf. He then fasted for another 30 days before Mary appeared to him again and granted him absolution. However, the devil refused to let go of Theophilus, and 3 days later, Theophilus awoke to find the damning contract on his chest. Theophilus, filled with fear, took the contract to another bishop and asked for help. The bishop tore up the contract, and Theophilus died there, supposedly happy to have gotten out of the deal. Not everyone who makes a deal with the devil has been lucky enough to escape serving him in the afterlife. Theophilus did the right thing. Learn what happens next to this sailor who made a deal with the devil. Bernard Falk. People say that fact can be stranger than fiction. Much fiction has been made out of this next deal with the devil. It is about a man who became known as the world's fastest sailor, the legend of the Flying Dutchman, a Frisian-born captain for the Dutch East India Company in the 17th century. He was famous for the breakneck speed with which he traveled from the Dutch Republic to Java. For example, in 1678, Falk traveled the journey in 3 months and 4 or 10 days, delivering a stack of letters to Governor Rykhoff von Hoons that confirmed his traveling time. 200 years later, the same journey Falk did took tea clippers, the fastest ships on the sea, 4 months. Even for modern boats, this is a long journey. But in the 17th century, the speeds Bernard Falk appeared to achieve were unfathomable. Those who knew him said Falk had sold his soul to the devil in order to become the world's fastest sailor. Legend has it that the devil came back for Falk and his crew. Falk in the afterlife would become the captain of the legendary ship, the Flying Dutchman, which would never return to port. Even though Falk died in 1678, the Flying Dutchman was rumored to have appeared in the Cape of Good Hope in 1709. The Flying Dutchman has continued to haunt sailors as a reminder of what it truly costs to work with the devil. Jonathan Moulton. Another man who lived to regret his deal with the devil was Jonathan Moulton. He didn't ask for any special talents, he just wanted to be rich. Brigadier General Jonathan Moulton, a hero of the American Revolution, sold his soul to the devil in exchange for a promise that the devil would fill his boots with gold every day. Moulton soon became a very wealthy man, but he became more greedy and told the shoemaker to make bigger boots. Moulton wasn't afraid to play the father of lies at his own game. One night, Moulton took the soles off his boots and put them on top of his chimney. When the devil went to fill up Moulton's boots and realized he had been tricked, he burned down Moulton's house. Moulton and his family just about made it out alive. When Moulton died at age 61, his body supposedly vanished from the coffin. People said that the devil remembered how he had lied and sent him straight to hell as a punishment. Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, the famed country singer, songwriter, and Nobel Prize winner, gave an unsettling interview on 60 Minutes. When asked why he was still performing after a 5-decade career, Dylan stated that he had made a deal with something a long time ago and was simply keeping his end of the bargain. When asked what he had made a bargain for, Dylan stated that it was to achieve his fame, success, accolades, and enormous musical talent. Naturally, the interviewer wanted to know who or what Dylan had struck a deal with. But the answer was unexpected. Dylan stated that he had made a bargain with the chief of this world, this earth, and the world we cannot see. This isn't the first time Dylan has made such a revelation. Back in 2008, he stated that he had traveled to the crossroads and made a deal of something, and when he returned, he was the man he is today. Niccolò Paganini. Sometimes just the fact that someone was extremely talented was enough for others to think that they were in league with the devil. This is particularly the case with musicians, and this is what happened to Niccolò Paganini. When Niccolò Paganini came on stage, everything stopped. Paganini was a musical virtuoso since he was a child. His seemingly impossible violin skills shocked people all over the world. By the time Paganini was 13, he was getting so good at playing the violin that his teacher said there was nothing else he could teach him. He was known as the most skilled violinist of his time. He could play at a rate of 12 notes per second, and he made complicated techniques look easy. Paganini's work at such a young age was so amazing that rumors started to spread that the talent came from a totally different place. Some people thought that this Italian violin virtuoso had made a deal with the devil because he was so good. Other people thought that Paganini's mother was so eager for her child to become rich and famous that she made a deal with the devil to give him musical skills. Paganini was a strange sight to behold. He was tall and thin and always dressed in black. Paganini had ghostly pale skin, thin lips, and hollow and sunken cheeks. Life and early fame were hard on him. Paganini had a nervous breakdown when he was only 16. This sent him into a downward spiral of drinking and gambling. He became a target for more scary rumors. It was rumored that Paganini had killed a woman he had seduced and that he had used her body as part of a ritual. After a long time, he died of larynx cancer, and one of the last things he did was tell a priest who had come to give him his last rites to go away. Is it true that he was linked to Satan? He had to deal with the rumors until the day he died, and even after. When he died in 1840, the Catholic Church in Genoa would not let him be buried as a Christian. Robert Johnson. Dylan isn't the first musician to strike a bargain with the devil at a fork in the road. People say that Robert Johnson, the undisputed master of Delta blues, met the devil at these crossroads and made a deal for his soul. Johnson got what he wanted and became a famous blues musician, but he died when he was only 27. No cause of death was recorded on his death certificate. Johnson's life and death, which were inadequately chronicled, have spawned a slew of stories. It is said that this blues legend had sold his soul to the devil at a local crossroads in order to gain musical success. Outside of the small musical circuit in the Mississippi Delta, where he spent most of his life, most of his story was reconstructed after his death by researchers. The strange things about Johnson helped spread the rumors. Some of his fans thought he had an evil eye. The truth is that he had a small cataract. It has been said that Johnson played with his back to the audience and would leave a show without warning, sometimes even during breaks. Today, these kinds of things aren't strange, but back then they were. A lot of people thought it meant he had something to hide. Tommy Johnson. Even though he is not related to legendary Delta bluesman Robert Johnson, who played Crossroad Blues, Hellhound on My Trail, Come On in My Kitchen, Tommy Johnson is often said to be the first Mississippi blues musician to have sold his soul to the devil. It seems that the myth of dealing with the occult has made legends of many musical careers. Many musicians have gone to the crossroads of Highway 49 and 61 to sell their soul to the devil. Legend has it that they became incredible musicians when they returned. This may seem strange, but in the music industry, particularly the blues, there are countless legends of figures going to a crossroad. Other musicians with a Faustian bargain. Other musicians people have speculated have sold their souls to the devil include Jimmy Page, Giuseppe Tartini, John Lennon, Snoop Dogg, the Rolling Stones, Felipe Mussard, David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Alice Cooper. Some of them have even admitted to making a deal with the devil. Jimmy Page's obsession with Aleister Crowley led to rumors that he was friends with Satan. Another rumor said that Led Zeppelin had made a Faustian deal to get famous. There is no proof that Page was a Satanist, but he did agree with Crowley's ideas about personal freedom. He even had Crowley saying, "Do what thou wilt," written in the runoff groove of the first vinyl releases of Led Zeppelin III. Throughout Zeppelin's history, Page did little to stop the rumors. He may have thought they were good for business. Cooper claims he received his stage name from a Ouija board experience in which he discovered he was the reincarnation of a 17th century witch with the same name. It's equally probable that religious extremists branded them as devil worshippers, simply because they didn't like the lyrics of their songs and disagreed with anyone who dabbles with the occult. All publicity, even bad publicity, can be good for business, and perhaps these musicians just played along. It doesn't make it less eerie, though, when you listen to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones and their lyrics for the song "Sympathy for the Devil." Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul and faith. I was round when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Enough about musicians. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Is it worth it? Does Robert Johnson play better than any other blues musician? If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy one on the screen. Click it, and I'll meet you there.